Joining us today. I'm Gina Gonzalez from Dubai CommerCity, and I'll be your host for today. And it's great to welcome you all to today's webinar on how AI is reshaping digital commerce and the future of online business. AI is becoming a big part of how businesses operate today, from customer engagement and marketing to logistics to operations and decision making. As adoption continues to grow, many businesses are trying to better understand where AI can create real value and how they can start integrating it into their day to day operations. Through today's session, we wanted to bring together different industry perspectives and practical examples to help unpack how AI is shaping the future of digital commerce. We are pleased to have our keynote speaker, Mr. Alexis Jean Baptiste, Chief Analytics and AI Officer from L'Oreal Middle East. Mr. Baptiste will be explaining to you about how prompt engineering is becoming a critical business capability, powering high-quality content generation, faster to go-to-market cycles, and smarter customer engagement. Mr. Baptiste, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this intro. Hello, everyone. So we'll share with you my screen. Right. Should be this one. Up. 1 sec. So can you see my screen?
Yes, we do, Alexis.
Okay, perfect. So I can start. So hello, everyone. So my name is Alexis. I'm a Chief AI Officer for L'Oreal in the Middle East. So today I will show you where lies the value of AI and how to deploy AI in your organization from tomorrow morning. So quickly about me, I won't spend that much time about my background, but just to give you a bit of an idea of my track record. So I've been developing AI solution for 17 years. So if we start from the bottom line, so back in the time, it was not even called AI, it was called deep tech, if I'm not mistaken. I was using this NLP library, and then I built a complete product around it, and I was selling private equity information to big banks and big corporations. So it was an AI investment platform. I launched in London. I did this for a couple of years, and then I decided to join corporate and to work for Stellantis, Total. Then I joined the beauty industry, starting with Estée Lauder, so as a chief data and AI officer, starting in Paris first, in charge of EMEA, and then moving to New York as global head of machine learning solution. And finally, L'Oreal as a chief AI officer, having this mandate of infusing AI in every facet of the organization to make the most of it. I'm also advisor at Women in AI in the Middle East, and so I built a couple of things along the way. So as you can see on the right side, but I would say the biggest, things I built are the 2 AI labs. So I started with the first version at Estée Lauder companies, and then I end up developing the new Horizon lab at L'Oreal. So let's jump directly to what matters the most, numbers, not narrative. So we just got in the intro an idea and a question, an open question about how AI can bring you added value. And so it can bring added value everywhere, actually, in every, as I said, every facet of your organization, every layers, every workflow has to be redesigned thanks to AI. So just to give you a glimpse of what you can do is definitely a couple of examples of use cases I deployed in different organizations. So the first one is Estée Lauder globally. So by starting with something that was a no-brainer, because we were back in the time almost 10 years ago, we were selling product, but we were not having a product recommendation. It was like a no-brainer to build one. So sometimes you see when you are looking for application, AI application, you don't need to look very far. And so I started by developing this product recommendation for one country. It was Greece. Then we scaled it into Italy, and then fully EMEA, and finally we turned it into a global solution for all the affiliates. The result of it, plus 20 in terms of digital revenue, which is a massive increase, as you can imagine. The second example is the revenue per email. Back in the time, we were targeting everyone with the same message, and we wanted to do precision targeting because there's nothing like more annoying than receiving something that is very random, that is very, let's say, generic, and that is not very tailored to what you purchase in a company. So we decided to go and to develop micro segment, and so the result is, of course, the revenue skyrocketed and multiplied by 170, it was of course a massive improvement, and we've been able to scale it across the different brands and across the different affiliates. Then moving to L'Oréal. So by, let's say, developing, by starting first of all to map the opportunities, selecting the right ones, and developing tools internally, we've been able to save plus increment the bottom line by $4.3 million. It was a very good example of how you can apply AI at scale. And the final use case is a creative click-through rate. We've been able to increase by 24% the engagement on our creatives using different techniques I will share with you. So 3 main pillars. So AI is definitely redefining the commerce value chain at every stage, every layers, every workflow, as I said, from acquisition to retention. Then you have a smarter operation in general, smarter marketing, smarter finance, smarter HR department, smarter everything. So it goes from like personalization, pricing, forecasting, logistics, services, and way more. And I will show you in a minute. Then the shift is definitely from tools to Copilot. I think we passed this era. We are definitely talking here about agents. We are in the agent era, and then autonomous operators that is coming right after. So concretely, as I was saying, it's not about adding value, just adding value. It's about rebuilding the full operation from acquiring a customer, converting a customer, fulfilling, so sending a product for L'Oréal, for example, retaining the customer and expanding massively the offer. So as I said, under acquire, you have find the demand. So optimizing your media operations, converting, so targeting the right segment and having lookalike on the most interesting segment that fit your brand. Then fulfilling, of course, shipping and serving your customer as you should, using like best-in-class operations. Then retain them, bring them back, showing them having like a tailored message at every step of their journey with your brand, and expand, of course, your activities, managing the risk. For example, for us, it was customer buying only one category, so we decided to expand them and to make them buy many categories. In terms of your CFO will thank you later, of course, because in terms of risk management, it's way better. And also, you never know how the market moves, and sometimes you have like new dynamics and so on. So it's very important to provide different services and offer. So then, as I was saying, if we go one level down, you have like under acquiring, you have predictive audiences, generative, ad creative at scale. Under converting, you have real-time product recommendation, dynamic pricing, personalized merchandising. Under fulfilling, of course, you need to use what is definitely a keystone, and I have an example I will share with you in a few, which is demand forecasting, smart routing, fraud scoring. Under retain, you have the next best action, churn prediction, and segmented messages. This is something I started to work on when I joined L'Oréal 4 years ago. Expanding, as I said, CLTV, so customer lifetime value scoring, propensity to buy, cross-selling, upselling, and AI services to provide support at every stage. So if we go back to the first example, so the first use case I would like to show to you is Estée Lauder in EMEA when I was like leading the transformation for data and analytics and AI. So we decided first, you don't know what you don't know. So you need to have a 360 view of your business health check. You need to have like a view on your customer, a view on your operation, like a 360 view of your operation. So that's why we decided to build inside 360 10 module decision platform powered by Google Cloud Platform. So using mainly BigQuery and adding like 12 different sources. We were using different predictive model on top of it. So propensity, product recommendation, creative analysis, and then to derive different use cases such as a segmented CRM, so segment of one, and not a segment of many. Of course, as you can see on the right side, massive impact on the bottom line. We skyrocketed the revenue per email, open rate have been also went high. Engagement uplift multiplied by 7, which is not something small, and also opt-in only 2%, which this one is very important. Only 2% of the opt-in database, opt-in customers, have been able to generate 50% of a regular CRM communication. So it was also showing that micro segmentation works. This one is maybe a no-brainer. So let's move to the second one. The second one is how to have a smarter marketing and operation. So under marketing, you have different levels. One is personalization at every stage. Product recommendation, as I said, creative is another one, pricing another one. So you can definitely have dynamic pricing related to user demand, the competition, the inventory, the margin. All these kind of parameters can be defined by you, can be also helped. You can be helped by the support of any AI tools, and then to fine-tune your own like pricing solution. Demand is very key because you need to supply accordingly to the demand. So forecasting has been a keystone for Estée Lauder, but also for L'Oréal. Operation, as we said, from spreadsheet. So when I joined L'Oréal, so everyone was having his own source of truth. So as many source of truth as employee, as you can imagine, we were spending our time discussing about numbers and not leveraging the numbers, and we were having no insight. That's why they brought me in to move from one step, so from 0 to 1, as I'm used to say, from spreadsheet to signals and to decision. So after centralizing all of our data set in one place in the cloud, we've been able to, of course, monitor the quality, ensure a high quality service around our data set, and then we've been able to build on top of it. And so concrete use cases were forecasting. It was key. We were selling product, and so we had to have SKU level demand forecast because we were having a lot of demand planners, and they were a bit blind. And so back in the time for the worst, let's say forecast score, we were around like 40%. It means like very, very bad. And we've been able to go to up to 75% accuracy. And so, of course, once you have this forecast, then you can derive a lot of use cases such as logistics, and routing, fraud and trust, and customer service. So we saw marketing, we saw operation, and so if we deep dive a bit more on the machine learning forecasting, I wanted to show you this example. The before after is a bit revealing. I said it's a bit interesting to show you the impact of such a technology. So back in the time, 5 days, 5 planners, okay, working on Excel, quarterly cadence, reactive, never proactive, and 20% day per cycle. So we were totally inefficient. But it was our reality. So we were not knowing what we were missing. Then we brought machine learning, and so we've been able to have only 3 hours. So automatic release of the forecast, of course, plus adjustment at the margin. So 3 hours work only, 0 planners involved, just like the director of operation manipulating few numbers just to make sure that we were on point. So new ML pipeline, continuous reforecasting. So no need to wait quarterly. It was like we were able to deliver it on daily, weekly, monthly. We were definitely in a predictive mode instead of reactive. And so we've been able to save a lot just for this project alone, more than $500,000. Creative, exactly the same. So we used computer vision to be able to give us like what was working the most, to put labels on top of creative, face, age, color, promo, format. And just by putting labels, we've been able to derive a lot of insights. And we've been able to learn from our customers and our also prospect, knowing that, for example, the creatives without any face were generating way more engagement than the branded face hero. It was very interesting. So we've been able to have these granular insights. We've been able to apply on the creation of the new creatives to be even more efficient on the media side. So as I was saying, after this couple of use cases and example, we are moving from tools to operator. So tools, it was mainly human using AI, and it was what we've done maybe 1 or 2 years ago. Copilot, so we moved to this phase using AI to assist us, more like an autocomplete in a way. Then we are moving, and now I would say that we are more under the agent era. The AI is definitely executing tasks, and we are moving even more to the operator, and I will show you a concrete example of mine in a few. So what is an agent does? So it perceives, it decides, it acts, and it learns. Okay. So first, it will read a state. So that's why the context for an agent is everything. Context is everything. So that's why you have so many connectors to Slack, to Telegram, to a lot of different sources, because definitely the agent has to feed himself with the context. Then he will decide. You will prompt the tool. You will give him like a goal, and then you will reason over the goal. Okay. Then he will act. He will use different tools to reach the goal, and then it will learn automatically to see what worked, what didn't work, and then to reapply like learnings in the future. So all of this is very interesting. There is kind of this learning loop, automatic loop. So personally, I love to build what I say, because there is a lot of people talking about AI, but less people doing AI. So today I wanted to show something I built. I posted about this morning on LinkedIn, so you will have more detail on it. It took me 48 hours to build a zero human commerce company. Okay, so many agents. One was for media trading, so planning, buying, optimizing ads on its own. Okay, pricing agent, adjusting vehicle rates. For the booking platform I created, there is a booking concierge handling inbound in WhatsApp, on the web as well, 24/7 in different languages. Content agents, because I wanted to build a content factory to be able to feed the media buyer. So one layer of the content factory is definitely to check what is happening on different social networks, what is working well, get learnings, and then create new campaigns every week. And then the media trader will pick it up, will invest money on it, will try to see if it works. If it works, invest more. If it doesn't work, kill the campaign. So and the ops watcher, surface, stock out, failed payment, anomalies. Okay. So all of this has been done with no marketing team, no ops team, one operator, me. Agents are the workforce. Okay. And at the marginal cost of running, because it's only $50 versus like thousands of dollars you should have put and invested in the system back in the time. So just to show you that it's not only about talking, it's not only talking about AI, it's about doing AI and definitely being able to reach this goal of autonomous operations. So concretely, this is a dashboard I created for me. Okay, so my business is called Desert Ride. Orion is the media trader, the content factory. I plug the two together, and so I'm able to have like this kind of view. On the left side, you have the 360 view of my business, from revenue attribution, campaign P&L, auto budget, creative fatigue, weather bidding, and more, as you can see on the left. And then I have, like, just to give you a glimpse of what you can get is the CEO dashboard. And so you have different insight at every level. All of this has been made through my prompt. And so you can definitely do the same to have the view you want to have to pilot your activity. So having said that, how you can apply all of this? So this is a 5-step roadmap. You can start literally not Monday, but Friday morning, tomorrow. So it's way more than a transformation program, something I know very well because I've been transforming two beauty giants. It's way more, it's something way deeper. It's let's say 17 years of learning condensed in one slide. So 5 pillars, okay. First one being audit, map your value chain, map all your processes, every stage, every hour, cost, error rate, and so on. So have a clear view of everything that is happening in your company. Prioritize the different let's say rework you want to apply. Don't go for something like that is very, very complicated first. Make it live first. Done is better than perfect. Third, I would say pilot. Give yourself like a short number of days to pilot at least one agent, okay? One model, one workflow, one KPI, and then you ship in production. Measurement is key because without measurement, you cannot improve. This is a no-brainer. And then don't be shy. Scale or kill. It's like one or the other. There is no in between. So use this rule as a key rule. I will go first on this one, but we discuss mainly about it. It's a different function, so you can apply Agentic AI at every level of the organization, marketing, operation, pricing, services for me, but it go beyond. You can apply this and help, for example, any department such as HR, you have finance, you have way more. You can apply this everywhere. So what I love to do is, because I did apply this test to myself, so this is something you can apply to yourself as well. I call it the intern test. If you can train an intern to do a task, you can build an agent. Definitely. This is exactly the same. So first is, what task did I do this week that I never want to do it again? Something bit like time consuming, boring. You don't, and you are spending time on. Okay. So something you want to get rid of. This is the first thing. The second one is, can you explain it to someone, like to an intern, in 5 minutes? If you can, this is the foundation of the prompt that will feed your agent, and that will be the context for your agent. And then how you can think about improvement, how done well is done, and how it can be better. Okay, this part is the last part. I would recommend definitely to focus on the two first. First, what I want to get rid of. Secondly, how can I explain it in details for the agent to do it? And automatically, boom, you have your first agent. I will go beyond. Of course, this one is my last slide about it. Everybody is talking about building agent. I will go a bit beyond. It builds skills first. The foundation layer is skills. Then you have agent, and on top of it, you operator, and doing the strategy, having the vision, and more. So definitely, agent will operate and will do, let's say, one job, even if it's minimizing what they do, but it gives you an idea. They are kind of they work like we say in on the technical side, we call them workers. They work on a task, and then you have skills. Skills is more about something you can reuse across different agents. For me, for example, in terms of communication, I wanted my agent to be able to tap into different skills, visual skills. I have two types of visual I love to create, and so he is able to. So one is Com1, the other one is Com2. This is two skills I've created, and now I can say, okay, I would like to build this kind of, let's say, visual using Com2. He will tap into the right skill, create the rules regarding the colors, for example, the font, and so on. He will tap into this skill, and then he will give me the output that is totally in line with the skill. So that's why agent is good. It's very important. It will be more about your workflow. Don't forget, definitely, we are in a skills game, and it's going to be very important in the upcoming weeks, months, and years. It was my last slide. So thank you very much for your attention, and so I'm available by email on LinkedIn.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the detailed walkthrough, Mr. Baptiste. The word AI, agentic AI, is all over. And as you mentioned, the bottom line is not the agent, it is the skill which can be reused, is what matters. Thank you again and truly appreciate your time, Mr. Baptiste. And as the French say, incredible. So,
Thank you.
so moving on to the next phase, panel discussion. We have an amazing line of panelists from different sectors who will be discussing about automation, agentic AI, and the future of commerce operations. So we have Mr. Svetlin Krastev, Chief Product Officer of PortMind, Mr. Dharmendra Mehta, Managing Director, MEA of Find, and Mr. Fasi Fariwar, co-founder of Lunatech. And the panel will be moderated by one of my colleagues, Mr. Kapil Bhamare. So we appreciate everyone taking the time to join us today. With that, let's begin. Kapil, please take it over.
Thank you, Juno, and thanks, Alexis, for wonderful insight. We have kept this webinar in a hybrid format to start with a master class, and then we typically move to 20-minute panel discussions. So as Juno has already introduced the panel, so first of all, I'd like to thank all three panel members for joining. So the panel is consisting of 3 members, 6 questions, very precise questions, but however, we need inputs and insights from the industry experts on the panel. So I'd like to start the session with Swelin from PortMind. So I have known Swelin for a while now. We have seen their solutions also. So a very specific question regarding the compliance part. So now that it looks like we are going to hand over even the compliance and regulatory decision making to AI agents, right? Where do you see calls going wrong, and who takes the accountability in such situation? What's your view on this? Swelin, over to you.
Yes. Hi. Well, first of all, good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for having me. And Kapil, so yeah, it's not an easy question. The first thing that I need to say is that fully agree with you. The whole agentic era is with us, and specifically with customs. When we need to declare, when we need to make sure that we are taking legal action, I would be very skeptical of anyone telling you, this is a solved problem. We know exactly who is taking the decision. So let me break it down a little bit and explain why and how exactly it happens. So technically speaking, AI of today is very different to the AI of 5 to 10 years ago, where let's say 5 or more years ago, it was a bit of a black box where you train your machine learning model, you throw a question at it, then you get an answer back, and that's it. And you hope that it's the good answer, you have to retrain, etc. The systems of today, also as Alexis was saying, and that's what we are doing, we actually have a pipeline that is proprietary and acts as, let's say, a team of agents that, first of all, have very, very well-defined problems and tasks that they're solving. They are taking a specific action, then they are producing a log and explaining the decisions they took. Then they are sending data to the next, let's say, agent or next step of the pipeline, so that at the end of a pipeline, which constitutes an automated task, you have a log that explains to you exactly what happened and why did it happen. So that is the way we are automating today the customs, let's say, compliance and submission. And to answer to you, why do we do it? So there is one thing that we do that is very dedicated to the legal framework, is that we are, or our pipeline of agents is going to stop at the last human click, so that we automate the first, let's say, 99%, but the last 1%, it remains, let's say, unautomated, which it can be, but legally speaking, the reason why it's not is because the legal frameworks of today are assuming that there is a human behind the keyboard. So we have to be very clear about that. And of course, tomorrow or in the months or years to come, this might change. But while this happens, we need to make sure that, first of all, the frameworks are fully, the software is fully auditable, that it has logs, that you know what the decisions made are and why were they made. And finally, you need to make sure that there is a human at the end that just checks what happened and says yes or no. That's very important. Otherwise, the legal liability today stands with the entity that declares to customs, and customs are going to hold them accountable. So we need to make sure that, we, as a company ourselves, but as well, I think all of us that provide services to others, we need to make sure that we are automating as much as we can, and we are helping them, legally speaking, as much as we can as well. I hope that answers the questions, Kapil.
Great. Thank you. I think you have addressed very important point. As long as there is a traceability and some human check, right? Because you're dealing eventually with one of the most complicated function in terms of trading, right? Which is the customs. And I truly appreciate your insights. Thank you. Thanks for addressing this point. Now moving on to Dharmendra. Since Dharmendra and team are building the complete ecosystem of digital commerce, right? And one of the classic examples we came across is like, you have compressed the entire fashion cycle from a couple of months to 21 days. This was part of one of the publications from Find, right? And that comes with a lot of questions for the audience, for everyone. What's the future for the creative team? How do you see that's getting impacted over a period of time?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me, Kapil. It's a pleasure to be here. I am going to resonate a lot of the thoughts that you already heard from Alexei and Shwed. So think of it like this. As an organization, Find is committed to using AI. We are a frontier AI implementation company. What that means is there are the frontier companies which are building AI, and then there are consumers of AI, which is government, semi-government, and private sector. What Find does is helps bridge the gap of implementing this technology or AI into organizations, right? And here, the large opportunity that we want to unveil for everyone is how do you use AI to shift the paradigm of the business altogether. So, for example, fashion is one of the verticals we work in, and the opportunity for AI is to compress the life cycle of actually getting a collection live from 12 months to 21 days. And how do you do it? Is, of course, there's a lot of stress in the system, which is about inefficiencies around different ways of and opportunities that come across during the entire value chain of building the collection. So from factories to suppliers to shipping routes to warehousing to stores, all of this has a lot of data which you can compress, which is the easy part of doing it. But the difficult part always has been the creative side of things, right? And this is exactly where I think I kind of have a contrarian belief that creativity will actually explode now. Because 5 years ago, a lot of us spent time building Excel sheets, right? And Alexei also mentioned this, right? It was not my job to be building Excel sheets, but I was spending a lot of time doing it because I needed that data to be in a certain way, presented in a certain format at a particular point of time. Today, with that getting automated or agentized, or while building skills, the agents themselves have learned what is required for which brand in what particular requirement. That heavy lifting part has gone away. So I'm left with a lot more time on the creative side of things, right? So therefore, my human creativity, my ambition, my strategy has become far more compounded. The difference is going to be about people who learn this skill of utilizing AI in the right way. So going back to the same conversation of building skills, not just for agents, but for people as well. My favorite example these days is I have a colleague who joined us about 6 weeks ago. She comes with a degree in fashion design, and then she worked for 15 years as head of buying merchandising for a very large brand. And in 6 weeks, I saw a LinkedIn post from her where she says, I never thought AI could change my life the way it has. It's turned my thinking, completely across from what I thought it would be able to do or not. So creativity definitely will actually compound. It leaves you more time to think about the things that are right for the business, what you should be working on. You are also able to spend time putting context to things, right? So the idea is the data and the heavy lifting part gets taken care by agents, by skills that you build for automation. But the context of the brand, the localization of the brand, how you want to do it. Like for example, the L'Oreal example, right? L'Oreal MEA must be very different from how it operates in France versus how it operates in China. Putting that localization, putting that entire effort of understanding the ecosystem, the language, the cultural values, the storytelling of that region is what will always remain very human. And it will be for humans to kind of exploit that out of the AI models that they work with. So in my opinion, creativity is actually going to get a big boost. We will, over the next probably 2 generations, come up with a set of people who actually don't spend a lot of their time doing desk work the way my generation grew up doing, but they'd actually be doing a lot more exploring, a lot more thinking, a lot more deeper analysis. It's a complete shift of the way we live, right? So I think it's very exciting times, and I'm rooting for creativity to take a large boost here.
That's interesting, Dharmendra. Good that you highlighted the generational shift, right? I think we are looking at completely new skill set for the upcoming generation, right? When it comes to creative field. Great. Thank you. Thanks for your insight, Dharmendra. Now we have Mr. Fasek, who is working with multinational brands across the globe, right? So, Fasi, I have a specific question for you. When it comes to handling the refunds, right, for any business, there's a direct commercial impact, especially for e-commerce businesses, right? So, what do you think? Is agent taking a refund decision aligned with the reality of the world, or is it just a gimmick for now? And there are humans behind the screen taking the decisions. Where do you see this shift happening?
So you mean if it's a fake agentic process, basically, but actually in the back there's humans still deciding? It's a funny
Interesting.
thought, and I'm pretty sure there are some companies that are marketing it as that, but actually, there's humans in the back. Um, I would say it's different levels of automation happening inside companies. So if we talk about the refund process, we have various aspects of it, right? We have the purely manual aspect that is actually processing the refund on the various system that exists that actually sends out the money once it's approved. Very manual task. You don't need AI for that. And please don't use AI for that because you will just use tokens for nothing. As long as something can be rule-based, automated, do it rule-based. You have less risks, you have less spectrum of the AI to hallucinate, do something that it's not supposed to do. So that's the first way. Many companies have that already. To be honest, in today's times, if you don't use the deterministic automation tools that there are in the market, then you're probably behind in the competition and you're probably behind at the customer satisfaction, customer service. So this is something you really have to have right now. The second part is where you have specific parts of the process complemented by AI that is not rule-based. Complex decisions as if can this refund be approved or can it not be approved, right? This is something where you still don't have agents. You have one specific step that is being automated with cognitive intelligence, cognitive capabilities. We're still not talking here about agentic automation. It's still not an agentic system, but it is already a smart system. And it is also something that is happening, I would say, at least for 8 to 10 years, that companies are using specific AI capabilities in specific steps inside the process. Still, this is something more advanced. So many companies are holding back in doing that, still have human doing the final approvals and everything. Companies that start with it, and that's what we saw with our clients, have to always start small in a way that you give a threshold. Refunds up until 1,000 dirham, for example. But up until that point, the AI can do a decision, can approve it or not. After that, the human has to do it. But that's only the first step, right? the people, the human that are working on the process need to gain trust, need to gain understanding of how the system is working, fine tune it, adjust it in a way that it's getting better and better. And you can increase the threshold maybe to 2,000 dirham, 3,000 dirham, and go like this step by step up to a point where actually most of your refunds are happening with artificial intelligence components. I do believe companies that say that they have this kind of automation. What we're talking now and what we see less in the market currently is truly agentic systems. Alexis has explained it with as well, that we have now a technology at hand, innovation at hand that is doing more than just finishing a task. It is having a goal, and based on that goal, it uses various data points, databases, it uses various tools to reach that goal. So talking about the refund process, you could, for example, put a goal for the agent to keep the customer as happy as possible, as satisfied as possible. So now we don't only have that single AI component that is approving the refund or not, but you have an agent that understands the sentiment of the person, the order history, for example, how the refund is requested, so the refund reasons and the pictures that are sent, and so on and so forth. Based on that, looks into the CRM system, into the order management, finds out background information about that customer, about that order, and connects it to various tools. For example, it might suggest to the customer a voucher instead that is higher value, for example, because it found out through the history that this is something that will make the customer happy than a simple confirmation of the refund. Or it can show different other products that might be interesting for the customer, or it might even just write a email to apologize for whatever circumstances happened that now a refund is happening. So this, now that we talk about agentic system, this is how I'm imagining agentic systems to work if a company is saying I have agents doing that, right? And this is something where I think we're right at the beginning, and it is such a crucial area, such a revolutionary era that the companies need to stay in touch with these innovations and these technologies. Otherwise, the next company that has done that already or is further in the process of doing it will definitely have a competitive advantage. And if I think of my own experiences, definitely a better customer satisfaction score.
Interesting, interesting. One of the reasons of picking this very specific point of refund, right? If you look at categories like fashion, the return percentage is probably one of the highest, right? And that's a direct hit for your bottom line at the end of the day for a business, right? So handling refunds sometimes is very critical for businesses. Nowadays, consumers are spoiled across the region when it comes to B2C, right? So thank you for your insights. Now moving on to next question for Swelin regarding the customs. So Swelin, I think all the markets across the globe are now looking at efficient domestic shipment management, right? B2B, B2C. Now, when it comes to cross-border, what do you think? What are the biggest bottlenecks, and how AI is trying to solve these bottlenecks?
Yes, thank you, Kapil. So indeed, just to start with, there are two huge, let's say, differences, or one main difference between those two markets. First, stuff that is already in a country, cleared, available to be shipped, sitting in a warehouse. So that's there. The second one is cross-border. We're speaking about the same goods, but they are in one country. They need to move to the other country, and there is something in the middle called customs. And with customs, usually you cannot take a decision that is 99% correct, because you run a 1% legal or financial risk. So you need to structure your decision-making or your software in a way that you avoid that risk. And that is today, let's say, one of the challenges with regards to making it fully frictionless. I would say we're working on that. And I would say between 90 to 95% of the whole process is automated. with the last 5% in the process of being automated. So let me explain what exactly am I speaking about. So if we speak about a cross-border shipment, usually we're speaking about goods that are moving from country A to country B. Nevertheless, the data, let's say the documents that need to be collected for that specific shipment and presented to customs, they are produced by different stakeholders. So at times for a specific shipment, you might have up to 10 different companies and different types of companies that are included, buyer, seller, supplier, shipper, insurer, some government entities that are issuing certificates of origin. And to add to the complexity, a shipment might have, for example, 1,000 products. Let's say one container full of lipstick, for example, these are very small products that can fit thousands of them in a container. So all of that basically requires the company that is clearing the goods, that is submitting the data to customs, to take all of those bits and pieces of documents and data, consolidate them, and make sure that everything is perfect. So that is what today we are automating with the pipeline that I mentioned previously. The capability of the current models is very strong. So that's why I was saying that about 90% of, let's say, the data consolidation and preparing that data for customs is done. Even if there are ambiguities, even if you're using different units of measurement, different currency codes, etc., all of that can be formatted and prepared. But now about the 5 to 10% of, let's say, problems. To give you a concrete example, we work with one of the largest third-party logistics companies in Dubai, and we see it with them. The large majority of the work is completely automated. There is just, let's say, the 1% I was speaking about of the human that just agrees. But the part where we are working at automating at the moment is the documents are produced, or the data is produced by humans. And as we know, humans make mistakes. And at times, there are just data points or documents that are wrong. And you know that they are wrong. And if you want to submit the data to customs, you have to have it corrected. Otherwise, you are facing a fine. So that's let's say the issue is that is manual today is let's get the correct data from the correct stakeholder so that we can submit it properly. And the way we are thinking of automating this is to actually work upstream. So we're starting to work upstream with some companies. I was mentioning a logistics company. Well, how about we connect directly with the client of the logistics company? Let's say with L'Oreal. So we had Alexis with us. They are the ones that own a big part of the data, so that the verification and the actual process starts upstream, so that when we go to customs, everything is correct. So big picture, that's the difficulty, a very practical one. But with that said, I would say we're at 90 to 95% of automating cross-border. And I'm very excited about what's to come in the coming months or years.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for your insights, Swalin. I believe PortMoint is solving one of the most difficult problems when it comes to cross-border trade, right? I have come across hardly any company who is really trying to build in these solutions. And that's the conversation I always have with Svetlin whenever we sit together across the table. So great. Thank you. Thanks for your insights. Moving on to Dharmendra. You have been working in the GCC region, MENA region, right, for long. And we have seen the hypes in the market, right? Obviously, the industry is moving very fast when it comes to technology adoption and development, right? Now is the time of AI. But what do you think? It's going to be a hype? Or is there going to be a real impact at a retail level? How the retail industry is perceiving this, the entire cycle of the AI?
Yeah, no, I think you're right that everybody's kind of trying to figure out what is the right way to do it. But I think one thing that has fundamentally shifted and which is different from all the hypes or cycles we've seen before this is not about, adoption of a technology to just solve some problems. This is a shift in thinking altogether, right? This is completely completely changing the way you think, you operate, you build, you work, right? So the adoption of AI is it's like water flowing. It will find its own way and it will definitely happen. It is part of that human evolution where things will come to a stage where we will have no choice but to utilize AI, right? So it is going to get to that stage. And therefore, organizations are trying to figure out at what stage should they insert their entire infrastructure into the AI part, and what needs AI, what doesn't need AI. I think that is where we are today. From fines perspective, we are in the region because we see that the UAE government is probably ahead by leaps and bounds in adopting AI, not only for its own charter, but also from citizen governance, from the entire infrastructure getting built for the country and for the region as well. And this is exactly how things are going to change with this mandate of moving everything that the government does to AI over the next 2 years will also help organizations in the private sector take and understand how all of that is getting implemented and utilize it in the right way. So it's the question is not if, the question is when. And there are three types of companies today that I'm seeing. One are people who are actually taking leaps and bounds and getting, like for example, kudos to the L'Oreal team to have a chief AI officer right now. That itself shows that there is commitment at a very large board level of making that entire paradigm shift of how the company operates and thinks. So that is one large segment. The second one is people who are still trying things out. They're trying to figure out, how can my conversion improve if I do this, or, they have basic KPIs that they're trying to move with, prove success, and then figure out what they want to do. And there are, of course, the naysayers, the people who are saying that this is not good, this is only a fad, this is going to change. But I think it slowly this set of people also understand that, and it's more about understanding the power of how this compute power is actually going to change the way we live our lives, right? I think one very important fact here is it is about the leadership within every organization. This is a leadership thought change. And that itself, so when we work with enterprises, we see there is leadership teams who are completely aligned to this, who are thinking about it. I know CEOs who are taking personal courses, private, classes to understand what the impact of AI could be, and how to implement it and how to be ready for it. There is this entire conversation also on one side, which is about, this is going to take away jobs, etc. But actually, it's going to make us far more efficient. We are going to live far better, more fruitful lives. We already live in a country where the government allows you to work 4.5 days and have 2.5 days off, right? Imagine this going to 4 days and 3 days, or the other way around. And that will make us more human, right? So that's inevitable. That's going to happen. And it's from what I see, this is not a hype. There is serious efforts being made by both private and government sector to make sure that this gets adopted. And I'm really excited that we are in a country that is actually driving this adoption at national scale, probably leading the world in that, right? So great, exciting times to be here.
Great, great. So the ultimate question is not about whether it's going to happen or not. It's about the timelines, right?
Yes, yes. It's about when. It's not.
It's
It's
not
not
about
about
when.
if or what or how. Yeah, it's when.
Interesting, interesting. Great. Thank you. Thanks for your insights. Moving on to last question for Fasia. Fasia, you are developing a lot of intelligent automation systems, right, for multinational clients. Can you give us a specific use case for our audience to understand what was the scenario before and what's the scenario currently after the adoption?
Okay, got it. So we're in the market since 9 years. And since 9 years, we're doing automation for various companies. It's not only big enterprises, multinational, but also small companies that consist of 10 people. Because to be honest, wherever you have things that needs to be done, you can automate things. So it's not only limited to multinational companies. I think everybody also in the audience is directly thinking of things to automate at their own desk, at their own teams. And I think that's important to understand that use cases are everywhere. Based on that, from the portfolio of many use cases that we've implemented, I want to bring an example that is more feasible, more closer to the understanding. And it's one of my favorite projects actually that we've revamped recently through the Agentic era. We have a client in the telecommunications industry that is receiving various reviews through Google and Trustpilot. And the reviews are more or less important because sometimes it's really just people, as we know it ourselves as well. Wi-Fi is not working, you get angry, and then you go to the telecommunications provider, Google, and then write a review and give 1 star. We have a lot of these, so a lot of these it doesn't need to be addressed directly. The thing with our client was that it didn't have any process in place to review the reviews and take actions on it and to respond. So, to be honest, the rating wasn't good as well, either on Google Review or Trustpilot. We had a bunch of reviews of these people raging about the connections and so on and so forth. Obviously, it had effects on the image, on the brand, but also on sales, because if you want to buy a new contract, you Google the company first, you see 2.5 stars on Google, you don't accept it, right? So this was an issue that was existing, but the company, the team did not have capacity to address it. And what we did is address this via automation. That was 5 years ago. So we didn't have the Gen AI capabilities of today and so on and so forth. It was like simple automation with some intelligent components. And this is something, by the way, that I also noticed in Alexa's presentation. It's not always about what you're doing today that you don't want to do anymore tomorrow that you automate. But also, if you, especially you guys and the audience, is thinking about what can I automate, think about what you're not doing currently and what you would love to do and what you would love your team to do. And take that into consideration for the next automation and the next use of artificial intelligence, maybe. So that's what we did with that client. We had a simple robot that is scraping the information from Google reviews and Trustpilot. And then we had AI components analyzing the content of the review. Is it something was down, or it's actually the customer service was not good, whatever. Have a sentiment analysis. So is the customer angry? Is he happy? Like, what is the situation there? And based on that, we had 2 actions in the first version of the automation. The first action was to reply directly with a Gen AI created response. Those were happening especially for customers that are happy, that are giving 5 stars, 4 stars, and generally a good mood. So the AI is responding, thank you for your feedback. It is great to have you as a customer, and things like that. Things that are bonding with the customers, and which is an important thing for a brand and for the image. So if I get a response on Trustpilot or Google review, I always read it, and I'm happy to see something like it reached somebody, right? And this is the effect that we have there with such a small automation. The second thing is the escalation to the human. So if the rating is not good, if the sentiment is not good, and so on and so forth, then you have the automation in this case escalated to the human, to the customer service, create a ticket, and then put together a suggestion as a response that the human and the customer service can look through, accept it, and be like, okay, that's fine, send it out. And then it's being sent out automated by the agent, or it reviews it, adjusts it, puts in a new text, and then that's being sent out to the customer. Either way, for the customer support team, it's much easier to handle all these reviews that are happening. And for the agent, it is a more safe way to answer those questions or answer those reviews. So this was around 5 years ago, and now we have, with the agentic era coming and more capabilities, we built extensions to that same process. The structure of the process is the same. Now we have more tools and more ways to respond. So we've, for example, added a campaign pipeline. So for customers that are happy, or even the ones that are not so happy, the agent is looking up what current campaigns are there, maybe a nice offer that I can post inside the feedback. So it creates a little bit, tries to create more sales. At the same time, it's connected to the CRM system to understand, maybe map the reviewer on Google and Trustpilot with an existing customer and see what the situation is there. Another thing that we did is we added a tool that is going through the uptime logs from the system to understand if there was an outage or something for that customer, and is going through a web page, even on a regional directory of outages, to find out maybe it was a regional thing, not from the provider itself, from the telecommunication company, but from the region. And based on that, it creates insights and responds as well to things that are more negative. So a customer saying, I had an outage for 2 hours. It finds out it was an outage in the region, didn't have anything to do with the telecommunication company, with the services provided. It pastes that into the response. So now in the agentic era, we have the same process that was built a long time ago, automated a long time ago, a little bit smarter, a little bit more close to the customer, and therefore creating more value.
Interesting. Great insights. So that's a wrap up of panel discussion. Thank you all the panel members for your insights. I'll hand it over to my colleague Juno to handle question answers and closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krastev, Mr. Mehta, and Mr. Parivar, and also Mr. Pamare for the amazing panel discussion. It was really engaging and very informative. Thank you so much for your time and for joining us today. So we hope today's session gave you useful perspectives and ideas that you can take back into your own organization and conversations around AI adoption. So at Dubai CommerCity, we are always happy to create platforms that bring together industry leaders and businesses to discuss trends shaping the future of commerce and technology. Hoping to see you all again in our upcoming webinar regarding innovation, where education meets industry. For further details, please keep an eye on our LinkedIn feed. So thank you again and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you very much for having us. Pleasure being
Thanks,
here.
everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
And talk soon.